صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Sahih al-Bukhari, the Book of Al Mukatab. A slave who binds himself to pay a certain amount equivalent for his freedom by seeking writing of emancipation from his master. Chapter on the sin of one who falsely accuses his slave of illegal sexual intercourse. Chapter on al-Mukatab and the payment of his price by yearly installment. And the statement of Allah. And such of your slaves as seek a writing of emancipation, give them such writing. If you find that there is good and honesty in them, and give them something yourselves out of the wealth of Allah, which He has bestowed upon you. Quran, chapter 24, verse 33. Narrated Ibn Jurayj, I asked Ata, will it be necessary for me to give a slave the writing of emancipation if I come to know that such a slave has money or property? Ata replied, I consider it obligatory. Amr bin Dinar asked Ata, have you a proof of narration for your verdict? He replied in the negative and added that Musa bin Anas told him that Sirin sought from Anas a writing of emancipation, and Sirin was a very rich slave, but Anas refused to grant him his desire. Sirin went to Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, who ordered Anas with his lash and recited, give them such writing, if you find that there is a good and honesty in them. Quran, chapter 24, verse 33. Anas then gave him a writing of emancipation. Narrated Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, that Barira came to seek her help in her writing of emancipation, and she had to pay 5 uqiyah of gold by 5 yearly installments. Aisha said to her, do you think that if I pay the whole sum at once, your masters will sell you to me, and I will free you, and your wala will be for me? Barira went to her masters and told them about the offer. They said that they would not agree to it unless her wala would be for them. Aisha further said, I went to Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and told him about it. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said to her, buy Barira and manumit her, and the wala will be for the liberator. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, then got up and said, what about those people who stipulate conditions that are not present in Allah's laws? If anybody stipulates a condition which is not in Allah's laws, then what he stipulates is invalid. Allah's conditions, laws, are the truth and are more solid. Footnote: Al-Wala. Al-Wala is a right to inherit the property of a freed slave to the person who has freed him. A hadith has made it clear that wala is a part like a lineage. It cannot be sold or gifted, so selling it or offering it as a gift is prohibited. Chapter on what conditions are permissible for a writing of emancipation, and whoever stipulates conditions that are not present in Allah's book, that is, not in accordance with Allah's laws. Ibn Umar narrated the above. Narrated Urwa that Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, told him that Barira came to seek her help in her writing of emancipation for a certain sum, and at that time she had not paid anything of it. Aisha said to her, go to your masters, and if they agree that I will pay the amount of your writing of emancipation and get your wala, I will do so. Barira informed her masters of that, but they refused and said, if she, that is Aisha, is seeking Allah's reward, then she can do so, but your wala will be for us. Aisha mentioned that to Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, who said to her, buy and manumit her, as the wala is for the liberator. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, then got up and said, what about the people who stipulate conditions which are not present in Allah's laws? Whoever imposes conditions which are not present in Allah's laws, then those conditions will be invalid, even if he imposed these conditions 100 times. Allah's conditions, laws, are the truth and are more solid. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, may Allah be pleased with them. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, wanted to buy a slave girl in order to manumit her. The girl's masters stipulated that her wala would be for them. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said to Aisha, what they stipulate should not stop you, for the wala is for the liberator. Chapter on al-Mukatab is permitted to ask others to help him get his liberation. Narrated Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her. Barira came to Aisha and said, I have made a contract of emancipation with my masters for 9 uqiyah of gold to be paid in yearly installments. Therefore, I seek your help. Aisha said, if your masters agree, I will pay them the sum at once and free you on condition that your wala will be for me. Barira went to her masters, but they refused that offer. She came back and said, I presented to them the offer, but they refused, unless the wala will be for them. Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, heard of that and asked me about it. I told him about it. On that, he said, buy and manumit her and stipulate that the wala should be for you. As wala is for the liberator. Aisha added, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, then got up amongst the people, glorified and praised Allah, and said, then after, what about some people who impose conditions which are not present in Allah's laws? So, any condition which is not present in Allah's laws is invalid, even if there were 100 conditions. Allah's ordinance is the truth, and Allah's condition is stronger and more solid. Why do some men from you say, O so-and-so, manumit the slave, but the wala will be for me? Verily, the wala is for the liberator. Chapter on the selling of a mukatab, on his agreement. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said, a mukatab remains a slave as long as he has not paid the whole amount. Zayd bin Thabit said, he remains a slave even if he owed 1 dirham. Ibn Umar said, he remains a slave whether living or dead, or became insane, so long as he still has to pay something from the writing of emancipation. Narrated Amra binti Abdul Rahman, Barira went to Aisha, the mother of the faithful believers, may Allah be pleased with her, to seek her help in her emancipation. Aisha said to her, if your masters agree, I will pay them your price in a lump sum and manumit you. Barira mentioned that offer to her masters, but they refused to sell her unless the wala will be for them. Aisha told Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, about it. He said, buy and manumit her, as the wala is for the liberator. Chapter on if a mukatab slave asks somebody to buy and free him, it is permissible for that person to buy him. Narrated Abdul Wahid bin Ayman, I went to Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, and said, I was the slave of Utbah bin Abu Lahab. Utbah died, and his sons became my masters, who sold me to Ibn Abu Amr, who manumitted me. The sons of Utbah stipulated that my wala should be for them. Aisha said, Barira came to me, and she was given the writing of emancipation by her masters, and she asked me to buy and manumit her. I agreed to it, but Barira told me that her masters would not sell her unless her wala will be for them. Aisha said, I am not in need of that. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, heard that, or he was told about it, he asked Aisha about it. Aisha mentioned what Barira had told her. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, buy and manumit her, and let them stipulate whatever they like. So Aisha bought and manumitted her, and her masters stipulated that her wala should be for them. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, the wala will be for the liberator, even if they stipulated 100 conditions.